All right, thank you, Kyron. And this is the course submission. And the course submission is two file types. It's the course section and the student course section. You can see here the data submission up to this point. So you should have started with the staff demographics and moved on to the staff assignment. Kyron talked about that. And then once the staff assignments have been submitted, you have identified those teachers that are instructing students, or you have identified your teachers. You use the course section to identify the teachers providing instruction to students. Course section records are for your traditional classroom teachers, such as elementary school or secondary school, but it's also for those itinerant teachers who are providing direct instruction that might pull in and push out teachers. They need a course section record. Every course section should have a student course section. All the students enrolled in the course should have course section records for the courses they are enrolled in on census day. The exception is, of course, the itinerant staff. You do not necessarily have to enroll students in that course section. There are a couple of scenarios in which it is advantageous to report students for itinerant courses. We'll talk about that later. So it is expected that every primary and every short-term enrolled student has a student course section record submitted. So that's every student who's enrolled on census day with a 10 enrollment status or 30 enrollment status. If you fail to have a student course section, at least one student course section record, you will receive a fatal error. You will receive a warning if you do not report course section records for short-term enrolled students. However, the warning is there in place because we want you to report the course section record. There is no other way to show a student enrolled in CalPADS with a secondary enrollment unless you submit that student course section record. Every student in grades TK through 12 that's primarily enrolled, short-term enrolled, should have a student course section record. So what courses do we report? So you're going to report self-contained and departmentalized courses, right? Self-contained courses are single courses with multiple subjects. Oftentimes, these are elementary school courses. When you think of kindergarten through sixth grade, the teacher is primarily responsible for multiple subjects, whether it be math, English, science, what have you. Departmentalized courses we associate with secondary level courses. These are single subject courses. They usually have specific academic content like algebra, biology, English, or theater. Any course that's not state course code 1000 is a departmentalized course. All multiple subject courses, regardless of grade level, regardless of subjects, is a self-contained course 1000. Here you have the series of different courses, right? All your self-contained courses are 1000s. Primarily, those are elementary school level courses. Sometimes you may opt to report independent study courses with the 1000. Your CTE courses are a 7000, 8000 series. And then your 9000 series are your academic content areas. They could be math, foreign language, and science. And you can see this in the valid code combinations document. So here you have your content area categories, right? And so you can see self-contained. Every self-contained course will have a state course code 1000. It's your only option. Let's do English language arts. All the English language arts code values. I must point out that we filter for only the valid codes. The last academic year effective is not applicable, so that means it's valid. But you can see we have our English language arts codes. And then just one last example of the filtering. Let's look at mathematics. Here we are. And so you can see all in the 9000 series. Right? All the different code values. So the content area can help you identify the specific course if you're doing some code mapping. And then we have college courses, right? They vary by academic content. So they're not grouped together. They're grouped, if it's a math course, 9273, that's going to be grouped with all the math courses. That's why the college courses are so spread out the way they are. So you can see that here. Again, we can go to math. $92.73 would be here, college math. So all the 92 series are math courses. If it was science, so here we have life and physical science. $93.58 college science. So you can see 93 is dedicated to sciences. So you can see with your academic content, the first two digits are associated to the grouping or the subject matter or the content area. Then if you have a CTE course and it's a college course, you have to identify that course by using the correct CTE state course code that's in the 7,000 to 899, right? That will identify it as CTE content, CTE curriculum, and then you're going to either say it's college credit only or dual credit. That tells us it's a college course. The value or the reason why it's important to identify your college courses for fall 2 is that the staff members teaching these courses, whether they work at a college or they're not credentialed for high school, you're going to use a SEID 999. And so if you report them with the appropriate college course code, you won't be dinged. You won't trigger an exception. If you have a college course and you give a high school course code, like students going to college and taking calculus, you give it the calculus state course code, you're saying that that curriculum is on a high school level, not a college level, 1. 2, that staff member should be credentialed to teach secondary education, not college education. And you're going to get a ding when you use a generic SEID 999 because this mysterious generic SEID has no credentials associated to it. So that's the value of submitting the college course code or using the 2324 with CTE courses for fall 2. So this is more for end of year, but it also is relevant because CTC has a definition. So the college courses that should be reported are college level courses that students are open to enroll in through the LEA. This is not when a student takes a college course independently on their own or a course that has no association or oversight with the school. So the student enrolls at a community college over the summer or is taking night classes and it's not through your LEA, it should not be reported. Likewise, the dashboard, which is the end of year definition or the end of year value here, says dual or concurrent enrollment programs are innovative partnerships between public schools and local community college that allow high school students to earn both school and college credit as part of alternative education. So the school has to have a MOU, a memorandum of understanding with a community college, and the students are enrolled based on guidance, offerings, alignment through the secondary school or through the high school. So remember that. You may have an instance of students taking college courses that are not appropriate to be reported in CalPATS. That leads us to the use of the generic SEID 999. The generic SEID 999 can be used for any course reported in CalPATS. It can be used for any course. However, it has consequences and it's not appropriate for those courses that are college level taught by college staff. In that case, you want to report the course appropriately, again, using a college state course code or a CTE state course code and using the 23 non-standard instructional level code or the 24 instructional level code, college credit only or dual credit. Those staff members who you report courses for that you do not have SEIDs for and use a generic SEID will trigger an automatic exception, okay? It is appropriate if you have a staff member and you don't have their demographic information or you don't have access to the staff assignment information. It is appropriate in those instances. If you have a staff member that's not credentialed, rather than omitting the instruction for your student, report the course and use generic SEID 999. Here again is a table showing you the consequences. If you look at the top of the table on the left, it says college credit, dual credit course, sections reported with a generic SEID. CalSAS, it's predetermined through local assignment option of 76004. There's no action for you to take. The ESSA reporting category, if you do not use 76004, would be out of field, okay? Now, any other instance of the use of generic SEID 999, if you look at displays in CalSAS as, the last three rows are predetermined vacancies. That's any non-college course reported with a generic SEID, right? There are ways to clear this predetermined vacancy. You can look the SEID up and report it later during the monitoring process. There may be no action to take if the SEID is or not credentialed. The teacher might be identified as out of field or ineffective. So let's talk about picking the correct course code. Again, your curriculum and instruction staff should do this. That's the perfect world, but we know a lot of this comes upon you. A lot of this is identified when errors are triggered. So the first thing you always want to do is determine the content of the course. Don't look at the course name, look for a course definition. Try to identify the content of the course. What's the local description for the course? Identify the standards that were used. Who is the target audience, the students, who's teaching, what are their standards? Then what are the grade level standards, all right? Is it a remedial course? Is it a course that's accelerated? Is it a sixth grade course taught at a seventh grade level? Is it a eighth grade course taught at a sixth grade level? What you don't want to do is choose the course code based on this teacher's credential, right? We'd never encourage you to fudge data. The monitoring process helps the state, CDE, CTE, notice when we don't have enough staff, a particular subject matter, or we need staff that have greater authorizations. If we don't have enough staff authorized to provide EL instruction, there can be recruitment, right? There can be incentives given to districts or students in college going through this. We can identify an area of need and address it. If we're fudging the numbers and trying to look perfect, we can't truly serve our students. Lastly, you want to identify the method of online instruction for your course. Okay, so let's bring our trusty documents in again. We've already used the valid code combinations course group master combos. But if the first step is to determine the content of the course, this document will not help you. And that is where you pull in the code set, and I'm going to filter for course. I only want the course group state. Instead of state course code, course group state is what we're looking for. And I'm going to filter out the end date. So now I have only the valid courses. And I'm going to scroll down and let's look at a series of courses. Or we have several physical education courses here. You can see we have physical education departmentalized K through 5, physical education departmentalized 6 through 8. And it tells us physical education courses typically covers topics that allow students to develop and expand their motor skills, movement, applying strategies, biomechanics, so on and so forth. Then we have adapted physical education. Adapted physical education typically involves topic-specific designed to meet the unique needs of an individual disability. So we know that if we have physical education specifically for students with disability, this might be the most appropriate code. This would be the code we map it to. If we were in high school, we have physical education 1, physical education 2, elective physical education, right? And so we look at our state course code, we identify the content of our local course, and find the closest description we can to match it to. Then we come to the course group master combos and verify between grade high and grade low that that code is appropriate for the grade level of the students. And so we use these two documents in combination. So reporting English learners is an important function of the course section and the student course section record, okay? There's 3 elements that go into reporting an English learner. Starting with the student first has to be an English learner on census day. That student cannot be TBD and consequently an English learner afterwards. Yes, you're going to provide services to this student, but this student will not show up on the reports because all the reports are reflective of census day. First, the student has to be EL on census day. That status has to be there, not EO, not TBD, not IFEP, not even RFEP, EL. Next, the course record must have an education service code showing the service being provided. The education service codes are 1 through 6, 5 being no service, 6 being other. So 1 through 4 or 6 is a service. So the student must be EL enrolled in a course section that has an education service code value of 1, 2, 3, 4, or 6, not 5. It is appropriate to report 5 in your course section if that staff member is not providing EL services based on the curriculum or their authorizations. If they're not authorized, 5. If they're authorized, but that course is not designed to provide EL services and the staff member is not providing those services, 5 is appropriate too. Lastly, the student has to be enrolled in the course. So your EL student has to be enrolled in a course with the education service code value. So that CELA record submitted in fall 1, the course section enrollment file, and the student course section file all work together and are used to identify students receiving services and are reported in fall 2. Okay, and that concludes the course section. I'm going to pass it back to Kyron for the post-secondary status.